it's a huge city, and there's a lot of teams. What is it, like 25, 30 teams that play in that city championship league in the PSAL?
Right.
Buddy, there's only 5 undefeated teams left.
A year ago, you had a lot of fun with the undefeateds.
I know.
A lot of them hung on for a while.
It's true, and it's like, I didn't even think, let me just take a look. I was blown away, and I looked more because I was kind of doing something with the Fort Hamilton, and I'll get to that.
I don't know if that's good news or bad news.
It's bad news.
You think it's bad? Well, isn't there a good news portion of that, hey, some of these teams are getting better, some of these programs are getting better, and you're not just going to walk through them in these early season games?
Well, see, you're the glass half full guy. All right, I'm Mr. Cloudy. So right now, Lincoln, who's ranked in our poll, undefeated. Brooklyn Tech,
right,
undefeated. I'll give you the other one in just a second. And the latest, a team a lot of people are starting to talk about, but they better play better. Grand Street Campus. They took on Curtis, who came in at 1-0, and Grand Street found themselves down just like that, 12-0, but not for long. Justin White to Aaron Lewis, 41 yards, made it 12-6. Same score, White to Tashir Mack.
White can throw it too. He's a lefty. What you love about his production, Mike, he's hitting all different receivers on these touchdowns.
So the bad news for Grand Street, they fell behind 12-0. The good news is they scored the final 32 points. White to Kamani Talbot. So down 12-0, 32 consecutive points. They win it 32-12. So Grand Street is the 4th unbeaten team in the PSAL at 2-0. The 5th unbeaten team, the Governors of DeWitt Clinton. And the Jets had the butt fumble, which worked against them. Clinton, they had one of the great fumbles of all time. Here's what happens. Chauncey Murray, his teammate, fumbles the ball late in the game. They're down. He's like, yo, what should I do with it? He picked it up. He ran into the end zone. They come back to beat Fort Hamilton 30-28. Now, there's 2 interesting things about that game. That Clinton, the Governors, are 2-0. The 5th now. The more interesting thing to me is that Fort Hamilton, a team that I thought was going to be pretty good, Danny Perez's Tigers, they're 0-2.
Right.
There's 6 teams in the PSAL that have not won a game, and it's shocking to me that the Bay Ridge School, when you have Legree and everybody, they've got cats. They're 0-2.
Yeah, opened up with that loss to Curtis, 12-6.
Yeah.
And listen, you're right. They're way too good to be 0-2, but hey, they can turn it around. There's a lot of time left here. We're only in the 2nd week of September. You cannot pack it in.
No, but the one thing is, when in the preseason and the off season, when you get talked about a lot, like you're going to be, what's the mindset? Now Danny's got to figure it out. It's like, okay, everybody's heard their clippings, they've read them.
Sure.
Hey, you're going to be great. Now you got to not only coach, but you have to play psychiatrist too. Not the easiest thing in the world. JFK, what do you think?
Solid.
Up in the Bronx?
Looked good for a while there early on. They had the ball, no score. Pocho Franklin passed to Michael Merced. JFK's up 6-0. Looking
Looks
good.
like you run right into the wall if you go too far.
Another brick in the wall, baby. Boys and girls ball. Gerano snip to Sean Giscombe. Boys and girls battle back in this game. Same drive, snip to Brandon Watson. They'd score the last 2 touchdowns and win it 12-6.
He almost got a touchdown and a goal. Almost ended up in the soccer net. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. When I saw this score come out, I was like, there is no way in the world. Did you see what St. Peter's, Staten Island did to Chaminade? Our number, what were they? Chaminade, 22? They beat them by 20.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and the game was tied at one point, and when you look at that point differential, St. Pete's would run off the final 26 points in that game. That's a nice run for the Roses, for those Eagles.
Do you know that the Eagles did not attempt one pass in the second half? They outgained Chaminade like 242 to 43, something like that in the second half. And if you take away a 34 or 35 yard run on the final play of the game for Chaminade, They gained 7 yards rushing in the second half. St. Peter's did not attempt a pass in the second half. And Jimmy, we were talking about it as we were getting ready for the show. I watched some of the footage of this game. And St. Peter's physically beat up Chaminade. And this kid, Sean Kennedy, he's a senior. He's a college football player, a lineman, no doubt. I loved his game. He's 6'5", 230, very physical, very athletic. St. Pete's is a team now that we really have to start to look at. They lost last year in the AA semifinals to Mount. They were up 21-0 in that game. They gave it away. Mount went on to the championship to lose to Cardinal Hayes. This was a team, Chris Stefano, that has a focus this year. This is a different group of kids from Staten Island.
This is a very healthy situation for the league, for the Catholic High School Football League. Not only is it another team in St. Peter's, they've been progressively coming along, but it's another borough. You know, Mike, it's really important. You're doing this a long time. Staten Island used to be much more powerful and relevant in high school football than they have been lately. And it's just, listen, we know a lot of kids go to Poly Prep, things happen, right? Yeah. But it's just important that you feel a little power coming out of Staten Island in the form of St. Peter's.
Well, Monsignor Farrell, for many a decade, was a national power. And I think one of the things that hurt the Lions is when St. Josie opened, when More Catholic opened, when Dino Mangiro went to Poly Prep, that it became a relevant spot to go set up and play football. So it's just, it's kind of watered it down. But that could be the best win. I just thought of this right now. For Staten Island in the Catholic League since the 2000 CHSFL Championship, when Monsignor Farrell kicked a field goal late to beat St. Anthony's at St. John's 24-22. Could be.
Now listen, it's always good. I had a great time all those years doing the PSAL when it seemed like Susan Wagner was there every year. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I thought that was always important for city football.
Our buddy Paterzo took one. We knew Tottenville was going to get him.
Well, he picked. That was the wrong time to see them, no doubt.
Mario Valentini, the Mount got off on the right foot against Fordham Prep up at Jack Coffey Field last Friday night, and then unfortunately for the Mount, after Max Rillen got the touchdown, Mike Wagner for the Rams went to work.
It looked like there was a whistle there. Half the guys stopped. They let the play go, and apparently it counted. That was a crazy play.
If it wasn't a whistle, it's great coaching. And then Anthony Caserta, nice little rip right there to Randall again.
Step into it.
So Prep goes on to win it 27-14 in their first game of the year. So what do you think? Quiet week in New York. Aside from St. Peter's victory, quiet week, nothing over the top in the PSAL, nothing over the top in the Catholic League aside from St. Pete's. One of those weeks, week 2.
I thought about this too, and seeing some of the images from the Curtis game, and I got to give Pete Gambardello a lot of credit. They played that game just one day after the funeral of Miles Kirkland. And it's some of the saddest, most heart-wrenching images to see kids in their football jerseys literally carrying their buddy's casket out of the church. And they took a 12-0 lead in that game. I just think the emotion of the week. Physically, you just don't have the strength that you should for 4 quarters of football after going through that. But a tip of the cap, they kept it together. They play in number 54's memory. Kirkland, who, when you're all accounts, you hear his father talking his love of the game of football. He was so humble. He was a good player. He loved the game. And it's just, one of those things. It's a fact of life. You're going to lose people in life. And to see those kids have to go through that, it's tough. But I give Pete credit because he really kept them together.
No, he did. It's a horrible story. Just an absolutely horrible story. Football goes on, and so does our poll. Well, here's some good news for New York City. Last week, they only had 2 in the top 25.
Wow.
This week, they have 3.
Wow. Now, that doesn't happen often.
No.
It usually goes the other way.
And only 1 in the small school 15, but it could be a big one.
Okay.
And then I don't know what I haven't looked to see what I'm picking yet this week, but I got to pick something from New York because I didn't pick anything from New York last week.
I like the look of St. Peter's. This is going to be fun to have them in the mix.
I just wish they were in the Bronx or Brooklyn.